Howdy. Today's the first day of fall 2025. I love first days of seasons. And fall used to be one that was like, meh, it means winter's coming, but now I just really love fall. I love all the seasons. Winter's at the bottom of the list. I'll be just honest about that. Anyways, I have had a little bit of a cold, so my voice is a little less loud, which isn't any different, super different than my normal voice. But anyways, I have been thinking a lot about last week and just the things that I felt and the connections that I was having as I was reading and being reminded of the power of reading the Book of Mormon. I have admittedly, and it's part of why I started doing this, is I have taken less time in the Book of Mormon and kind of just been going with the Come Follow Me, which is wonderful and amazing and literally magically fits into my life almost every single week. And that's powerful. But I've kind of allowed the Book of Mormon to be less prominent and just kind of gone with the standard works, just as long as I'm doing scriptures every day. So it's not like a bad thing or a wrong thing to spend time with the gospel and in the scriptures. But there is a promise and a literal power that comes with actually partaking of the Book of Mormon on a daily basis. And I have lived it before. And some of the blessings that I have been craving in my life, just since last week, I've really been able to recognize that when they were of abundance in my life is when I was immersing myself in the Book of Mormon every day. Now, does it need to be immersion as in like spending a long time, like a certain amount of time, or does it need to be, a certain amount of pages? I don't necessarily believe that that's the requirement. Before, when I was like intentionally every day spending time in the actual Book of Mormon, it was there until I felt the Spirit, like until I felt it. And some days it was just, a verse or two, and some days it was, maybe half an hour to an hour of time. And so anyway, and I was listening to the Follow Him podcast by Hank Smith and John, by the way, and their guest was Matt. I don't remember his last name. Hold on, I'll look really quick because I want to give a shout out to him and to them. Matthew Godfrey, Dr. Matthew Godfrey. And it was not so much that it was a brand new idea, but it just a reminder and a confirmation where he was talking about how just what I'm saying, that the Book of Mormon has its own particular promise, and at least, a verse or two of intentional time with the Book of Mormon can really make a difference. And so it just brought back these memories that I've had, and they've kind of been fleeting, and I've just kind of been put in like, well, oh yeah, I have been, searching the scriptures and praying every day, or at least immersing myself in a gospel discussion every day, whether it's just listening or participating, just kind of, again, not very, I'm not being, I don't feel guilty or shaming myself for not being more proactively in the Book of Mormon. But also I can see how I let life kind of win and doing the bare minimum or making excuses that at least I'm blah, 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 blah. And I'm not negating the blessings that come for that, or it's not a right or wrong or black or white or good or bad, but maybe a better or best. And I partake of better, I think probably 90 95 to 97% of my life. And I'm noticing that the best part, I've kind of been deprived myself of the best just by not being super literal in the promise of the Book of Mormon. So I am considering doing, I don't know if I'll do them live here or not, but maybe doing shorter stints daily. And then, maybe longer ones on Sunday, or whether I do it here or not, but the way my brain works is if I'm like doing it every day, I either need to do it twice or just include you every day, because like I don't want to leave you out of my process. And you, whoever you is, might just be me looking at myself back in the camera here. But anyway, those are all just me thoughts that don't have their completeness to them yet. So hopefully that made some sense. But I think definitely everybody could use the blessings that are promised from the Book of Mormon in their lives on a daily basis. But since I can't speak for everybody, speaking for myself, I know that I need them. I know that I have missed them. And just this week of like really out loud, explicit reminders that the blessings that I had that I have been missing in my life are directly related to the time when I used to spend specific time in the Book of Mormon every day. And so now that I see it, I can't unsee it. And so that will be, I'm going to be bringing it back in starting today. So it's actually starting yesterday. So last week we left off in Nephi 17. Nephi had just received the commandment to build a ship, and he has never built a ship before. I know you're talking about maybe he'd never even seen the ocean before. He may have never even considered the thought of building a boat, because maybe, I don't know, maybe he never thought he'd see the ocean. It's not like, now I can hop in my car and drive 6 hours and get to the ocean. I could get on an airplane and go for a while with the intention of going. Life was just really different. And so maybe it was never even a thought in his mind, And all of a sudden it's like, hey. So then he started with what he knew, which was tools. He knew how to make tools. So he asked the question, where should I go that I can, molten ore so that I can make tools? And then he's like, wait, and then I got to go backward a little bit and actually make a bellows. So he's starting with what he knows. He's doing the very minute steps, and then each step at a time will be revealed. So I don't remember exactly which verse I stopped on. So I'm going to start with verse 13. And the Lord is speaking, and he says, I will also be your light in the wilderness, and I will prepare the way before you. If it so be that ye shall keep my commandments, wherefore inasmuch as ye shall keep my commandments, ye shall be led toward the promised land, and ye shall know that it is by me that ye are led. Yea, and the Lord said also that after ye had arrived in the promised land, ye shall know that I the Lord am God, and that I the Lord did deliver you from destruction. Yea, I did bring you out of the land of Jerusalem. So just a reminder, sometimes I'm super emotional today too. I've been sick, so I'm have less guard. But also for some reason that's hitting me, sometimes we start into something sometimes I start into something thinking that I know that it's what the Lord wants me to do, and I think I know what it means. So I start into it, and then it turns into like chaos or destruction. And then it's like confusing, and it's almost I forget that the Lord led me there, or I question it, like, did He really lead me there? Or, um, or was I confused, or was I deceived, or was I making it up, or whatever? And then there's just in this moment, where I don't know if Nephi ever doubted it, but they've definitely experienced some chaos and some confusion and some like back and forthness. And so the Lord is just reconfirming, I did bring you out of the land of Jerusalem to help deliver you from the destruction of being there. Wherefore I, Nephi, did strive to keep the commandments of the Lord, and I did exhort my brethren to faithfulness and diligence. And it came to pass that I did make tools out of the ore, which I did molten out of the rock. So it's just kind of, I heard on a podcast once that the past is revelatory. It just kind of sounds like the Lord is helping Nephi to see where he's been. And, it's been confusing, but yes, I was the one that led you out of Jerusalem, out of destruction, and I've been with you through the process. And you have kept the commandments, and you've been faithful, and you've been diligent, and you've been asking your brethren to be the same. And then he's back to the present where, like, still in keeping commandments and still doing what he knows to do. He did molten the ore, and he did make the tools. Molten ore out of rock. I don't know the right terminology. And when my brethren saw that I was about to build a ship, they began to murmur against me, saying, Oh, our brother is a fool, for he thinketh that he can build a ship. Yea, and he also thinketh that he can cross these great waters. Has anybody else ever felt like you have this idea, and it's, that it's not just your idea? It feels possible, and it feels real, but it's also like in the distance. And when you like try to explain it to someone, they're like, and maybe they're not doing that, but maybe your own self-doubt comes in, and you interpret their words to be like, why do you think you can do that? That's so dumb. Have you ever felt that way? Maybe I'm the only one. And Nephi's like, that's what his brothers are trying to do. Like, you're such a fool. Why do you think you can do this? And thus my brethren did complain against me, and were desirous that they might not labor, for they did not believe that I could build a ship, neither would they believe that I was instructed of the Lord. So I think the distinction between they did not believe and they would not believe. So they didn't believe that I could build a ship because, as if I'm Nephi, they didn't believe Nephi could build a ship because that's human. Like, why would you be able to build a ship? Like, human people, like, you've never even seen a ship, maybe. You have never learned how to build things like that. You don't understand the water. You don't know what it takes. Like, why do you think you can do that? And that's humans. We kind of look at humans, and we think through a human brain, and we think of all the things that have to be in place for somebody to be able to do something. And so it makes sense. They're like, why would you be able to do that? But then also, they would not believe that he was instructed of the Lord. So it's like, not only can I not comprehend it from my human brain, but I refuse to believe that God has anything to do with this. There's a difference between not believing or having a hard time believing because you're human, and refusing to believe that God can do different than humans and can make things happen. I think that's an important thing to pay attention to and understand. At least for me, like the difference between. In fact, do I even have my pens? I should mark that. I'll do it when I'm done. And now it came to pass that I, Nephi, was exceedingly sorrowful because of the hardness of their hearts. And now when they saw that I began to be sorrowful, they were glad in their hearts, insomuch that they did rejoice over me, saying, We knew that you could not construct a ship, for we knew that you were lacking in judgment. wherefore thou canst not accomplish so great a work. And so the misinterpretation of his sorrow, and they used it against him to like try and pull him down. And I get that. And some of my frailties are that my sorrow a lot of times is different, I guess, than what people think it is. I do get sad a lot when people don't understand God or what He can do, or maybe they don't spend the time or haven't taken the time to really understand how He works, and refuse to do that. That does make me sad. And there's other things that I get sad for a reason, and other people don't know what the reason is. They think they know, and then they kind of like call me out on it, or they talk about it. My greatest weakness in that area is then I start to my sadness then extends to the fact that they won't understand me, and so I can get lost in that. It's like, I'm not sad for what you think I'm sad about. I'm not sad because I can't build a boat, and I'm not sad because I don't understand it. In fact, that's where my confidence is because I know that God can show me and He can teach me. But then someone else like calling me out on that, or being mean to me about it, or doubting me and making fun of me, I get sad about that. And then I lose my confidence of what I knew over here. So I get lost in this middle piece. Because again, he became sorrowful because of the hardness of their hearts. And then they saw that he was sorrowful. They were glad about it, and they started saying, nah. And well, let's keep going. What they kept saying, and thou art like unto our father, led away by the foolish imaginations of his heart. Yea, he hath led us out of the land of Jerusalem, and we have wandered in the wilderness for these many years, and our women have toiled, being big with child, and they have borne children in the wilderness and suffered all things, save over death, and it would have been better that they had died before they came out of Jerusalem than to have suffered these afflictions. So now they're blaming him, his belief in God. They're blaming all their problems on him and blaming in God, and on their dad and blaming in God, and how foolish it is. So, I know for me personally, I don't lose my belief that things have come from the Lord. I don't lose my belief in the Lord, but I let things like that cause me to lose my belief in myself. And maybe like, why do I think that I can do it even if the Lord is there? Or, maybe I made this up wishing that I could be, you know what I mean? So these kinds of things, and I'm using me as an example, but in working with people, I see it all the time. Like, these kinds of situations can be convoluted, and we can get lost in our humanness of, it's important that, there are people in our life that believe in us, and that, we feel like they care about us, or, and that we can share these kinds of things with. It's important, it's helpful in human life, but also it isn't all there is, and there are going to be times when people don't understand. And so our relationship with God is so important, and letting that fuel also our confidence in ourselves through Him. There's a love triangle, is what I call it, which, if I left it there, might seem, there's lots of ways people use that. But in Matthew, and several times throughout the scriptures, but I think it's Matthew 24, when the Lord is telling us about the first greatest commandment, and the second that's like unto it is to love God, love others, and love self. And all three of those need to be in place. And so we have to be willing to have faith in ourselves through God when other people don't have faith in us. But we also have to be willing to include people in our lives and to trust them, and And even when that doesn't work, we still have to be willing to trust God and that He believes us and that He trusts us. And, so it's this, when they can come together, there's a lot of power there, but they're not always going to be perfectly aligned in this life. The goal is to get it there. I don't know if that makes sense. The connection makes a lot of sense to me right now. So hopefully I'm translating it through my mouth, at least in a way that's not super confusing. But I think that my personal goal, and I think for a lot of us humans, it's a really great goal to be able to maintain our confidence in God, even when people's confidence in us is low, and to still reach out and to allow people to be in our lives and to trust that they're in our lives, but to not put all of our marbles in their basket. Part of this life is to know how to stand in our confidence, even if other people won't or can't. And our confidence doesn't come from ourselves alone. And I think that's maybe where I get lost, is in those moments when, people that I want to have, share in this joy with me or whatever, when I want them to validate me too, or when I want them to validate me as much maybe as God validates me, and that doesn't happen, then for a little while I let go of my connection or my confidence in God. Not because I don't trust Him, but I lose that confidence in myself. And like, if they don't believe me, then maybe I'm wrong. And so I shrink from the confidence that maybe God has in me. And that confidence in God and God's confidence in me, as long as I'm, following what He asked me to do, is strong. And if I can maintain that, then the rest of it, I think, will get stronger, if that makes sense. But I can't, there's a reason why the love of God is first, because it has to come first. And the rest will work itself out. Anyway, the brothers are continuing. Behold, these many years we have suffered in the wilderness, which time we might have enjoyed our possessions in the land of our inheritance. Yea, and we might have been happy. And we know that the people who were in the land of Jerusalem were a righteous people, for they kept the statutes and judgments of the Lord. It's almost, now it's at this point, it's kind of ridiculous, where they just keep going and they keep going, they keep attacking. And at some point here, I notice that I flip. I'm like, okay, yeah, that would be hard to sit through that. But then they get ridiculous. You're like, okay, no, never mind. I'm back to being with God again. And that it does kind of happen in my brain too. Anyway, for they kept the statutes and judgments of the Lord and all His commandments according to the law of Moses. Wherefore we know that they are a righteous people, and our Father hath judged them, and hath led us away because we would hearken to His words. Yea, and our brother is like unto him. And after this manner of language did my brethren murmur and complain against us. And this is where Nephi is just, he's a rock star throughout the whole thing. But just a reminder of, came to pass that I, Nephi, spake unto them, saying, Do you believe that our fathers, who are the children of Israel, would have been led away out of the hands of the Egyptians if they had not hearkened unto the words of the Lord? Yea, do you suppose that they would have been led out of bondage if the Lord had not commanded Moses that he should lead them out of bondage? Now ye know that the children of Israel were in bondage, and ye know that they were laden with tasks which were grievous to be borne. Wherefore ye know that it must needs be a good thing for them that they should be brought out of bondage. Now ye know that Moses was commanded of the Lord to do that great work, and ye know that by his word the waters of the Red Sea were divided hither and thither, and they passed through on dry ground. That confidence in the Lord is not waning at all. And again, that's where I feel like I'm blessed, as my confidence in the Lord doesn't wane. But there's a required confidence in self through the Lord too. And not self alone, but confidence in the Lord in self is really important. And it just allows him to rise above all that. He's like just going on what he knows. He has enough experience. He's read the scriptures enough. He has it. It's like a part of him, and he knows, and he can't doubt, or he doesn't doubt. He chooses not to doubt. Maybe is a better way to put it. But ye also know that the Egyptians were drowned in the Red Sea, who were the armies of Pharaoh. And ye also know that they were fed with manna in the wilderness. And ye also know that Moses, by his word, according to the power of God which was in him, smote the rock, and there came forth water, that the children of Israel might quench their thirst. All of these are happening in times when it was difficult and when humanness would have thought they were doomed. And always the Lord shines through. He like split the Red Sea, and they walked across, and then their enemies were swallowed up. They were fed manna when there was no food in the wilderness. He smote the rock, and there was water when they thought they were going to die of thirst. And notwithstanding they being led, the Lord their God, their Redeemer, going before them, leading them by day and giving them light by night, and doing all things for them which were expedient for man to receive. They hardened their hearts, blinded their minds, and reviled against Moses and against the true and living God, even with all of that. And it came to pass that according to his word he did destroy them, and according to his word he did lead them, and according to his word he did all the things for them. And there was not anything done save it were by his word. And after they had crossed the river Jordan, he did make them mighty unto the driving out of the children of the He did make them mighty unto the driving out of the children of the land, yea, unto the scattering them unto destruction. And now do you suppose that the children of this land, who were in the land of promise, who were driven out by our fathers, do you suppose that they were righteous? Behold, I say unto you, nay. Do you suppose that our fathers would have been more choice than they if they had been righteous? I say unto you, nay. Behold, the Lord esteemeth all flesh in one. Lord God loves everybody. He esteems everybody the same. He that is righteous is favored of God. So it's like, I love all of you, and I'm going to give you all of the opportunity to be blessed. But the only way that you actually can be blessed is if you do the thing that I tell you that's going to bless you. It isn't me condemning anybody. It isn't me putting anybody else above anyone else. It's me giving you an offering and then you choosing to take it or not. But behold, this people have rejected every word of God, and they were ripe in iniquity, and the fullness of the wrath of God was upon them. And the Lord did curse the land against them, and bless it unto our fathers. Yea, he did curse it against them unto their destruction, and he did bless it unto our fathers unto their obtaining power over it. Behold, the Lord hath created the earth that it should be inhabited, and he that created his children that they should possess it. And he hath created his children that they should possess it. He made earth so that we could live on it. And he raiseth up a righteous nation, and destroyeth the nations of the wicked. And he leadeth away the righteous unto precious lands, and the wicked he destroyeth, and curseth the land unto them for their sakes. He ruleth high in the heavens, for it is his throne, and this earth is his footstool. And he loveth those who will have him to be their God. Behold, he loved our fathers, and he covenanted with them, yea, even Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he remembered the covenants which he had made. Wherefore he did bring them out of the land of Egypt. He makes promises, and he doesn't go back on his word. He remembers them always, and he's always inviting, and we get to choose if we're in or we're out. And he did straighten them in the wilderness with his rod, for they hardened their hearts, even as they have, and the Lord straightened them because of their iniquity. And you know what? Sometimes we can see these things as like being punished or being, I'll just use the word punished. But honestly, the sufferings that we go through when we don't follow sometimes we suffer when we do follow the commandments. I mean, that's what this is all about, right? But when the Lord straightens us or chastises us, it isn't because he hates us, it's because he's helping us to see the difference, and basically is asking us to come back. And it's not a lot of times I think what feels like being punished is more of an absence of the blessings that he can't give because we're not choosing into what it takes to get the blessings. It's not that he's like whipping those people that aren't doing it. It's like they put themselves in a place to be whipped, quote unquote. Anyway, it's so simple and can be difficult to explain the way I see it, but some of the challenges we go through are there to help us be stronger and to help us continue to just keep moving along the path. We live in an imperfect world, and we live in a place where things are going to happen. We live with people that create circumstances where life can be challenging, and those challenges oftentimes cause us to look more clearly at our options and to make choices that are going to lead us back to God. And that's why he allows it, but also because he can't not, because blessings are attached to laws, and if we disobey the laws, we can't have the blessings. And if it were that, I mean, it would be, you have a parent that says, you can have this reward, after you've cleaned your room, you can watch TV. But then if you don't clean your room and you still can watch TV, then there's chaos there. There's no clear path, and it's confusing and it doesn't work, right? So I don't know if that made sense. I'm not a gospel scholar, and I'm just me. So I don't always explain things well, but I feel them and I see them. He sent fiery flying serpents among them, and after they were bitten, he prepared a way that they might be healed. And the labor which they had to perform was to look and disbelieve, like just look. And because of the simpleness of the way or the easiness of it, there were many who perished. And that's it too, is sometimes it's just so simple that it's like hard to believe. Like, hey Nephi, I'm gonna teach you how to build a ship. And it's too simple of a solution to a really hard problem, so that can't be right. I mean, how could the Lord teach you how to build a boat? You didn't even go to school for that, whatever. So he prepares these ways, and really all he wants us to do is look to him and to trust in him and grab his hand. And we oftentimes won't, because it's too simple. And because of the easiness of it, there were many who perished, and they did harden their hearts from time to time, and they did revile against Moses and also against God. Nevertheless, ye know that they were led forth by his matchless power into the land of promise. And now after all these things, the time has come that they have become wicked, yea, nearly unto ripeness. And I know not, but they are at this day about to be destroyed. For I know that the day must surely come that they must be destroyed, save a few only, who shall be led away into captivity. That requires a whole lot of faith. Because you could say all day long, I know this is going to happen, and people could be like, but it hasn't happened, so how do you know? And like mock you for it. When it has happened, you can say, look, it did happen. But that's the thing, is he's looking to the proof of things that have happened. The Lord said this and this happened. The Lord said it and then it happened. And he knows, and he has studied, and he has it in his heart the way the Lord works. And so he knows that it will happen, and he has faith in that. And not letting other people tear that down is so important. Wherefore the Lord commanded my father that he should depart into the wilderness, and the Jews also sought to take away his life. Yea, and ye also have sought to take away his life. Wherefore ye are murderers in your hearts, and ye are like unto them. Ye are swift to do iniquity, but slow to remember the Lord your God. Ye have seen an angel, and he spake unto you. Yea, ye have heard his voice from time to time, and he has spoken unto you in a still small voice, that ye were past feeling, that ye could not feel his words. Wherefore he has spoken unto you like under the voice of thunder, which did cause the earth to shake as if it were to divide asunder. That's another thing. Like, there's just so much. It's hard to expand on every little thought that I have, because there's so much in these words. So much. Like, I could take one verse and talk for 30 minutes on it. a lot of verses, probably not all of them. Because sometimes we're like, well, I don't have any proof, or give me a sign. But here he's giving them all the proof. They actually have seen angels. I've never seen an angel. Have you seen an angel? Have you literally heard the voice of the Lord? I know that I've had the Spirit bring thoughts to my mind that sounded like, or that seemed like it was almost a voice that was audible, but I've never heard a voice. And they did. They heard his voice. They saw an angel. They've had all of these things, all of these miracles, and you've seen it as we've read through. They like have this thing happen and then they're humbled, but then it comes back. And so it comes down to, are we willing to just believe God all the time? Or is our faith so weak or non-existent that we just need continual, like we refuse to believe it when we see it, and we just are looking for continual proof, but then we're also not using it as proof. There's just sometimes it seems like they couldn't deny it, but they just throw it away. I don't understand it. I really don't. But then it makes me wonder, how often do I deny what I know because of either I'm not getting what I want, or because of my own self-doubt? That's what gets in my way the most. Then ye also know that by the power of his almighty word he can cause the earth that it shall pass away. Yea, and ye know that by his word he can cause the rough places to be made smooth, and smooth places shall be broken up. Oh then, why is it that ye can be so hard in your hearts? Behold, my soul is rent with anguish because of you, and my heart is pained. I fear lest ye shall be cast off forever. Behold, I am full of the Spirit of God, insomuch that my frame has no strength. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. I don't know if I've experienced it to the level that Nephi has, that I have oftentimes felt weak in my body and so overcome by the Spirit. And now it came to pass that when I had spoken these words, they were angry with me, and they were desirous to throw me into the depths of the sea. And as they came forth to lay their hands upon me, I spake unto them, saying, this is like the cool superhero moment. As they came forth to lay their hands upon me, I spake unto them, saying, in the name of the Almighty God, I command you that ye touch me not, for I am filled with the power of God, even unto the consuming of my flesh. And whoso shall lay his hands upon me shall wither even as a dried reed, and he shall be as naught before the power of God, for God shall smite him. And it came to pass that I, Nephi, said unto them that they should murmur no more against their father, neither should they withhold their labor from me, for God hath commanded me that I should build a ship. See, in that moment when Nephi was so overcome with the Spirit that he felt weak, it didn't like automatically take control of his brothers. They still had their agency. Like it didn't Nephi's the power of the Spirit was consuming Nephi, but unless they were willing to let it affect them, it couldn't. As far as like changing their hearts, they were still angry. They had their agency to be angry, but also Nephi knew to draw from that, and he allowed that to be his confidence, and he spoke with his power. And I said unto them, if God commanded me to do all things, I could do them. And if he should command me that I should say unto this water, be thou earth, it should be earth. And if I should say it, it would be done. And now if the Lord has such great power and has wrought so many miracles among the children of men, how is it that he cannot instruct me that I should build a ship? Like, in the grand scheme of things, is this that big of a deal? Why could he not do that if he can do all these other things? That confidence is amazing. And it came to pass that I, Nephi, said many things unto my brethren, insomuch that they were confounded and could not contend against me. Neither durst they lay their hands upon me, nor touch me with their fingers, even for the space of many days. Now they durst not do this, lest they should wither before me, so powerful was the Spirit of God, and thus it had wrought upon them. And it came to pass that the Lord said unto me, stretch forth thine hand again unto thy brethren, and they shall not wither before thee, but I will shock them, saith the Lord, and this will I do, that they may know that I am their God, that I am the Lord their God. And so Nephi didn't just decide to do that, the Lord told him. And it came to pass that I stretched forth my hand unto my brethren, His ego wasn't there. He wasn't like, I'm going to shock you now. He was like, no, I know that the Lord's with me and I can do whatever, so don't mock me. And then that's when the Lord's like, hey, stretch forth your hand. And then he listened and he did what he was told. It wasn't ego, it was just faith, confidence. And they did not wither before me, but the Lord did shake them, even according to the word which he had spoken. And now they said, we know of a surety that the Lord is with thee, for we know that it is the power of the Lord that has shaken us. And they fell down before me, and were about to worship me. But I would not suffer them, saying, I am thy brother, yea, even thy younger brother. Wherefore worship the Lord thy God, and honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long in the land which the Lord thy God shall give thee. And after it happened, he wasn't like, I told you, don't mess with me. He's like, okay, don't worship me. It wasn't me. Just worship the Lord and honor father and mother. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to make me above you. I'm not asking you to it's not about me. It's about the Lord and what he's asking us to do. And I refuse to not believe him. And I'm just asking you to believe also. So it's a powerful verse, right? All right, well, I'm starting to my cold is starting to be obvious, so I'm going to go. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.